Japanese traditional sports. Kendo. Sumo. Kyudo. The origins of Kendo are in the distant past of Japan, when samurai trained with each other for battle. The precursor of Kendo, Kenjutsu, existed well before the 14th century. It was around 1760 when the first use of iron headgear or men was recorded, as well as the switch to bamboo training swords. Kenjutsu flourished at this time, and samurai traveled the country looking for strong opponents to hone their skills. In 1912, the sport was renamed and modified, and was from then on called Kendo. The All Japan Kendo Federation is the administrative body in Japan and oversees at least a few million Kendo practitioners, both men and women. An important part of Kendo is the equipment that each practitioner uses. The most important is the shinai, or the bamboo sword the Kendoka use. The men is the helmet they wear, which has a mengane or metal grill. They also wear a set of armor, including the do or breastplate, kote, gloves, and tare, which protects the upper legs and groin. As in many Japanese martial arts, the Kendoka practice barefoot. In Kendo, the whole body is not the target, only parts of it. These target areas are the head and face, wrists, and left and right sides of the do breastplate. There are a few different aspects of Japanese culture that are represented in the sport of Kendo. One of the main aspects is in the name itself. The Do spirit of Japan is an integral part of Kendo training. Over time, the different forms of Kendo were created. They were then codified by the large dojos of the Edo period. This was the first step on the path to Do. Kendo students then embark on the last 3 steps of the way, or Do, by constantly practicing these forms. The strict application of rules and forms can be seen in limited target areas of the opponent, as well as in the repetition of well-known and long-used forms, or kata. Do is also apparent in the structure of the ranking system of Kendoka. There are 8 levels, or dan, in Kendo, and the rankings are based on seniority rather than on skill. This is also a reflection of the seniority rules theory in Japan. Because of this ranking system, the higher-ranked Kendoka will always be senior to the lower-ranked Kendoka. This creates a vertical senpai-kohai system that is typical in Japanese organizations. While Kendo is traditionally a male-only activity, in its modern form both men and women can participate. This shows the changing gender roles in Japan, especially among younger generations. The structured form of Kendo also helps to instill courtesy and honor, even for someone's opponents.
Unlike Kendo, Sumo is a sport that is nearly exclusively male. Women are not even allowed to enter the ring. Sumo is the hugely popular ancient sport of Japanese wrestling. The rules of sumo are very simple. While there are some obscure rules, the 2 main ones are to win by either pushing your opponent out of the ring or making any part of the opponent's body touch the ground except their feet. There is also a referee called the Gyoji who will call out the kimarite, or winning technique, after the match. Sumo wrestlers, or rikishi, originally wore a colorful decorated fringed loincloth called keshomawashi. These are now reserved for rituals before matches, and simple mawashi are worn for matches. Originally, the sport was much more freeform, with the only limits in space set by the spectators. The modern circular ring is called the dohyo, because of the straw rice bags that mark each part. Sumo started as a rite of the Japanese religion of Shinto. This can be seen in many aspects of the sport. For instance, the stomping before matches is a ritual to drive evil spirits out of the ring. Waving branches is supposed to do the same thing. Sacred salt is also spread in the ring for the gods before the rikishi enter the ring. Sake is also poured out over the salt. Sumo is also an example of the Do and Zen spirit because of the practice they need to master techniques that let them be on par with opponents that are much larger than they are. Professional sumo is run by the Japan Sumo Association, consisting of former rikishi called oyakata, who are the only ones supposed to train new rikishi, as part of the training stable system or heiya system. Rikishi live together in these stables where they train with their oyakata. They train here in senpai-kohai system. The system in which they train is very brutal. There's even been a scandal over the hazing when in 2007 it resulted in the death of a 17-year-old trainee. During practices, the senpai will drag a defeated kohai around the ring until they collapse from exhaustion. Obviously, rikishi also eat an immense amount of food. Rikishi will typically eat around 10,000 calories a day, over 3 times the average male. The rikishi will typically eat the sumo staple of chanko nabe, a stew of various vegetables and meat. This, along with plenty of rice and beer, make up a diet that will build a good balance of muscle and fat. There is a list called the Banzuke that ranks all of the professional rikishi. 6 times a year, there are grand tournaments which the top rikishi participate in to find the grand champion, or yokozuna. The yokozuna are marked with the rope around their mawashi. The yokozuna make approximately $30,000 a month due to the immense popularity of sumo in Japan. However, there is also a dark side to sumo, with past scandals involving both match fixing and yakuza.
Kyudo, or Way of the Bow, is an ancient traditional martial art and a form of archery. Kyudo has received international popularity and is practiced by many. However, its popularity is unrivaled by those in Japan, which has about 150,000 recorded people who practice the sport. Historically, Kyudo was practiced by the samurai during the warring periods. However, the actual use of the bow predates the samurai as a method of hunting. When the samurai class emerged and took power, archery became a mandatory part of education. Archery was considered a part of wartime strategy until 1543. At that time, the Portuguese arrived in Japan and brought with them firearms. The Japanese took the firearms and adapted them into their own types of guns called the Tanegashima. At one point, they were used together due to the extended range, better accuracy, and faster reload time of the Yumi. However, the Tanegashima was preferred because of its ease in training. During the Edo period, the skill of archery became voluntary and was only practiced ceremonially, mainly as a competitive sport. Kyudo is practiced in various styles, with importance placed on different aspects and qualities. Military shooting focuses on efficiency, accuracy, and hitting a target. Ceremonial archery focuses on aesthetics and beauty in the form. Contemplative archery teaches participants to seek meditation and find oneness in the form. According to the Japanese Kyudo Federation, the ultimate goal of Kyudo is to achieve the heightened state of Shin-Zen-Bi, translated to mean truth, goodness, and beauty. The idea is that when an archer shoots truthfully, with a clear mind and respect to all living things, he embodies goodness, through which then beauty can be seen. Beginning to learn Kyudo consists of several steps. Starters begin to practice by using a rubber bow called a gomu yumi. With this instrument, archers begin to practice the technique of drawing the bow, as well as various other ritual movements and techniques. The techniques are called hasetsu, translated to mean the 8 stages of shooting. The 8 steps are ashibumi, correct foot stance, dozukuri, correct body form, yugu mae, preparation of the bow, uchio koshi, raising the bow, hikiwake, drawing the bow, kai, drawing the bow to its fullest length, hanaare, the release, and zanshin, holding the body in pose after the hanare. Once the archer has learned the movements, he or she then begins to draw the string of the bow to its maximum length without the use of an arrow. When the student is given permission by the instructor, they are allowed to practice with an arrow and a glove. The last step consists of the student shooting at a makiwara, or a specially designed straw target.
Now make that motherfucker hammer time like go stupid, go stupid, go stupid.